I've been looking at about how countries throughout the world in history have managed transitions from conflict or from conflict to democracy, or from authoritarianism to democracy, or in general how societies have managed this change, and how the media has reported on it.
So why did you want to study that?
Because Colombia, I think, is reaching that point. Colombia's in a point where our conflict has been going on for the last 50 years, could be coming close to an end. Maybe not end in the next 2 or 3 years, but it's going to come close to an end. And we have to begin to think about these things, and begin to change the basic things we cover. As journalists, we always tend to cover the conflict, and our magazine dedicates all its efforts to cover the conflict. But as the conflict begins to disappear, we have to begin to cover other things. Or if not, we'll go out of business as a magazine, and we also won't do our job as journalists. The role of the media is fundamental, because the media is the one who sets the tone of how things are looked at. So you have the risk of how do you be positive about transitions, because most transitions are positive. But at the same time, do not forget about your job of being a watchdog. It's a very tricky time to do these things. My initial idea was to do like a symposium to discuss these issues, but then I found out that that was a one-off thing, that when people come to a symposium, they listen and they forget. I felt that one way to really establish a dialogue, when I'm looking for a dialogue, one way to do it would be with a course. And Semana Magazine is setting up a master's program with one of Colombia's leading universities. And there's an opportunity there, since I will be part to actually teach this course on transitions and doing that. But the idea is also to do a course not only for the university, but also to adapt it for workshops and other places about that. Well, the process is to begin a discussion internally about the fact that to kind of get an agreement of people to accept that the situation is changing in Colombia, to accept that there is actually a transition going on, which is the first effort, which is going to take a lot of months to get people to agree on that, because it's not easy, because we've been brought up throughout our life that the conflict was for all our lives. So we have to figure out how to do that. Two is begin to just to put some pieces in the magazine about that, to raise these type of issues, to raise about what if the war is over, what if the war is almost over, how do we do things, and then begin to look for other topics, which can be not as sexy and as bloody as violence, but can be also interesting to do things. You know, there are a lot of stuff you can do on corruption, which can just be as interesting as the violence and the conflict.